Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. City News Everywhere reports that Louise Arbour, a distinguished retired Supreme Court justice, is set to be installed as Canada's next Governor-General on June 8th. Prime Minister Mark Carney made the announcement on Tuesday, confirming that Arbour will succeed Mary Simon, who served as Canada's first Indigenous vice-regal since 2021. Ms. Arbour brings extensive experience to the role, having previously served as a UN Human Rights Commissioner and Chief Prosecutor at The Hague, and is fluently bilingual. This significant appointment marks the first time King Charles has approved a Governor-General since he ascended to the throne in 2022. The Governor-General serves as the King's representative in Canada, performing constitutional duties, including acting as Commander-in-Chief and representing the nation globally. The installation ceremony is expected to include an address outlining her priorities. The Quebec government has introduced a new bill to expand the number of provincial electoral ridings from 125 to 127. This legislative action by Quebec's Minister of Democratic Institutions, Jean-François Roberge, comes after a Supreme Court of Canada decision and reportedly has the support of the Liberals, Parti Québécois, and Québec Solidaire. The bill represents the government's latest effort to safeguard representation for Montreal and the Gaspé Peninsula. Previously, an independent Electoral Boundaries Commission had recommended eliminating one riding in Gaspé and another in Montreal's East End, proposing instead to create two new districts in the growing Laurentians-Arnaudière and Centre du Québec regions. The Quebec government's earlier attempt in 2024 to block these changes was ultimately ruled unconstitutional by both the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. Political parties across the spectrum had voiced concerns that the Commission's proposed map would diminish the political influence of Gaspé and result in excessively large ridings in eastern Quebec. This report is from the Canadian Press. Radio-Canada International reports that Air Canada is significantly adjusting its flight schedule by ending service on 4 seasonal U.S. routes earlier than initially planned. This decision stems directly from the ongoing surge in jet fuel prices, which have more than doubled due to the conflict in Iran and the resulting Strait of Hormuz oil blockade. The affected routes include Toronto to Sacramento, Vancouver to Raleigh, Toronto to Charleston, and Montreal to Austin, with last flights scheduled between late July and early September. Air Canada has indicated it plans to resume full service on these routes in the summer of 2027 and will offer affected passengers alternative travel options or refunds. This move by Air Canada is part of a wider trend in the airline industry, with other carriers like WestJet, Porter Airlines, and Air Transat also announcing capacity cuts, fare increases, or surcharges to manage the escalating operational costs. Global News reports that a pet cat in southeastern Saskatchewan died from the highly pathogenic H5N1 strain of avian flu late last month. The animal, known to spend time outdoors, developed sudden severe neurological and respiratory signs on April 20 and died the same day. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency confirmed the presence of HPAI through testing at Prairie Diagnostic Services in Saskatoon. In response, the Saskatchewan government issued a reminder to pet owners about safety measures. These include keeping cats indoors and dogs on a leash, avoiding feeding pets raw poultry or unknown raw meat, and preventing contact with sick or dead wild birds. The province noted that the risk of pets contracting the virus is heightened during the spring migration season due to increased activity of wild waterfowl like ducks and geese. The risk to the public remains low, provided direct contact with sick or dead birds is avoided. Citizens are advised to report any sick or dead wild birds to the Ministry of Environment Inquiry Centre. According to the Canadian Press, Finance Canada is currently grappling with a substantial backlog of over 800 requests for relief from counter-tariffs on imports from the United States. Documents tabled in Parliament this week reveal that the federal government has already granted more than 200 such requests, with an estimated total trade value of $5.6 billion. A significant portion of this relief was provided for steel products. This amount notably surpasses the $2.2 billion in counter-tariff relief that was projected in the 2025 budget. Conversely, Ottawa denied 150 requests for tariff relief, which were valued at $3.9 billion. The combature for W. Foreign estamos so gays were conclubi, butcher dollars for Juas Gratham $170, Crowd Fellow, Berdab Beatty, the 6 DPA, Prey, Boer, and Donald Trump. While many of Canada's counter-tariffs were lifted last fall in an effort to de-escalate trade tensions, tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos remain in effect as the trade dispute continues. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.